Hello, here I am after almost 3 years without giving any news, besides writing some posts here and there. But here I am. The last video posted was in February of 2013, I think. So here I am, July 23rd, 2016. I know I should have probably posted more news in the past. It's not that it's lack of will, but I think lack of time. And I've said so much with all the other videos. If you've been watching some of them and following some of the evolution of my videos, we went all the way back from the diagnostic to the treatments and how it is now. So if I may take a minute to tell you how I am right now. According to the last blood test here, my paraprotein, or if we call it my IG, monoclonal, was in between 5 and 6, which is great. Depending on the country that you live in, it may be sort of a graded or differently. Here it's here based on when I was diagnosed at 36 in December 2008. So it's quite an improvement. I'm at almost a little bit less, a little over 10% what I was. And as of the fall of 2015, I was taken off the dexamethasone, which is, for everybody, is the Decadron or the steroids. So I've been able to sleep. Fortunately or unfortunately, because let me just tell you that after 6 years on the steroids, not sleeping for a couple of nights in the week didn't bother me. I'm not a very fan of sleeping, so if I could stay up all night, I would. And so off the steroids last year, and right now, as of last month, my treatment is still on Revlimid. I have been since way back in June 2009, and I was at the highest dose of the Revlimid at 25 milligram, and as of last month, I'm on at 15. Still without the steroids, and taking some calcium supplement, and also the blood thinners, more like that, the aspirin, to make sure that we avoid the blood clots. And I'm feeling great. So feeling great, well, as great as you can be. I am definitely not sick, definitely feeling very good. Not depriving myself of anything, absolutely nothing. My bones, according to the scans that I took last fall, I took a PET scan, which is a scan of the entire body where they inject some kind of a radioactive substance, and then you go through a scanner, and then helps detect if there's any other cancers, growing, or because a lot of people are worried, when you're being treated by, with the cancer, secondary cancers can appear. And in my case, everything is just hanky-dory or just perfect. I'm very happy with that. I've even had the RIM last year of my spine, because we know that multiple myeloma has tendency of actually lodging itself in the bones, and in the bones it takes away the place of the good stem cells, and then you either will be anemic or suffering, from being hypercalcemic, which is like a lot of loose calcium in the system, which in turn damage your kidneys. So according to all those tests, I'm not anemic. My blood count is excellent. My kidneys are perfect. My bones even are in good shape. Being at the level of 5, if today I was to be diagnosed, they probably wouldn't be treating, because it is so low on the scale that they'd probably wait to see if the cancer is progressive. And in my case here, being on the medication still, they rather control it that way. Let's put it that way, that I may not have a dormant cancer, but I may not have a very aggressive cancer. And to the amazement of many, still have had no transplant. My stem cells are still, hidden somewhere in a freezer, and but for the time being, I don't need them. That was my choice back in 2009 when I was diagnosed, to not go through the standard protocol, which usually is a high dosage of chemo treatments, or cocktails of treatments. That'd be Velcade, Revlimid, or even thalidomide. And then you have the stem cells collected, and then after that, you're followed by a very high and toxic regimen of chemotherapy, which is usually a melphalan, and you're re-injected with your own stem cells, which is the auto transplant, we call it, which is your own blood cells. And complication from that procedures are definitely not in the nature of you rejecting your own stem cells, but more into the effects of probably the fact that you will be subjected to the high dosage of the chemotherapy, so infections and whatever. And according to the medical field, that your bone marrow is changed after the transplant. And again, according to most specialists, that practically everyone, if not 99% of the people that have had the auto transplant will have a relapse at some times. Some of them don't even go after after the transplant. Some people don't even go into a remission. So it is probably futile to believe that you can be cured with the auto transplant. And in my case, if I'm well controlled, proof here I am, almost 8 years of survival, of very good survival. I've had besides the first 6 or 8 months of hard therapy with the medication, finding the right dosage, going through Velcade and neuropathy and so on, I consider myself lucky that the Revlimid did the trick for me. So that's where I am today, and still enjoying as much life as possible. I get sometimes, some emails from people, saying that my videos have helped, and I'm glad to hear that, because at the beginning, my videos were to be more therapeutic for myself, more of a notebook, or let's call it a diary. When you're diagnosed and you're given, maybe so much time. At my diagnostic, I was diagnosed with, stage 3A. Stage 3 is the last stage of cancer. A is because I had my bones were affected, but slightly. I would have been a B if my bones would have been more damaged, and kidney problems and so on. So thank God I've had no kidney problems. Even if it took a year and a half to find out what I actually had, I probably had this cancer for probably 2 to 3 years prior to my diagnostic. Multiple myeloma is not a cancer that just sort of springs out on you all of a sudden. It's usually progressive, and that's why I guess they call it, old people's cancer. Fortunately and unfortunately, when you're 47 years old to be diagnosed with this kind of cancer, we want some good news right away. You want to hear that you've been diagnosed right in time. You want to be told that it's easy, you can be cured, and then 5 years from now we'll all laugh about it. Well, multiple myeloma is a little bit different. If you're newly diagnosed, all I can tell you is just don't panic, because multiple myeloma is not the life sentence that it used to be. In 2008, I remember, after the diagnostic, that looking through internet and everywhere I possibly could, to try to find some resources or some help, about how do we survive this? What kind of cancer is this? There was nothing. It's still today a not very well known cancer, and but it does affect here in Canada, with a population of 37 million. There's 1,500 people every year that are diagnosed with multiple myeloma, but there's just as many that don't survive multiple myeloma, and there's many reasons to that. Age, because most people with multiple myeloma, and I would say 90% of people, with multiple myeloma are in the 65-year plus range. If you're under 65, well, you fall into a much smaller category. Your cancer may tend to be a little bit more aggressive, but again, the regimen of medications and the way to treat it, or the molecule that they call them, in the chemotherapy to treat it, are also probably can be a little bit more aggressive. So to try to get control of it, where if you're older, more frail, more sicker, obviously they're going to have to dose the medication in order not to kill the patient at the same time that you're treating it. So I have been very fortunate, that I've, managed to escape this, all the complication caused by multiple myeloma. Myeloma is a bone marrow, cancer, which is from the plasma cell, which is, part of our immune system. And it's a cloning of a bad cell, and it keeps cloning itself and developing inside our bone marrow. So when try to visualize or figure out, what it is, it's a very complex system, but it's in hematology better understood, even with all its complexity. Even sometimes, you can look around on the internet. There's a lot of good websites, from the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation, which has some help, visual aid on how to understand it. But like I say, I think that the first thing that I always try to reach to people when they call, or when they send me an email and I respond to. Or I go on sometimes on some blogs, and then people are newly diagnosed, and then they're completely floored. Any cancer, diagnostic is worrisome. Let's put it that way. It's not to be taken lightly. We definitely have to make some changes in our life. We may get through some worse times before we get to some better times, but it's all part of the process, when you look, when I look around, I have a friend of mine that was diagnosed for the third time with a different cancer. The first time a colon cancer, and then 2 times with liver cancer. And looking at how he's going through it and what he has to do to treat it, I consider myself very, very lucky. And you should consider yourself lucky to have this type of cancer. Of all the cancers out there, it's probably the one this is the least that doesn't show, let's put it that way. So when you look at yourself in the mirror every day, that is why it's difficult, for a lot of people. You don't look sick unless you're taking some serious chemotherapy, which may affect you, or you have some secondary problems with kidneys and all that. But otherwise, when you're on a regular treatment, or if you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't look sick. You may not even lose your hair because of most treatments can be given by pills. Revlimid is a pill that I take, for 21 days out of 28, and I have been taking for the last 7 years. So it hasn't affected me. It may have caused some discomfort at sometimes, maybe bowel discomfort, and sometimes I've had some skin effect with let's say with warts and so on, but a little bit more difficult to treat, but very I choose life, a lot more. It's a lot better than the alternative to having a little bit of problems here and there. So secondary effects, or the side effects, I would say, of the treatments when you're outside of the Velcade. Velcade is even better than it used to be. So what I can say, and then what I can wish for people who are diagnosed with this cancer, is you gotta keep busy. You gotta keep focused. Your life has not ended. I can't say that some people say, oh, your positive attitude has probably helped. It's not cured it, but I can say it's probably helped. It helped me focus in the right place. It helped me take time for myself, change my life, change the priorities in my life. I'm 47 years old, but I get letters from people that are 37, 40 years old. I know how they feel, because like when you still have kids at home, and you're sort of diagnosed with a cancer like this that is not curable, and but I can tell you that after 8 years you can survive it. I'm the proof of it. And I know that every month when the pharmacy calls me to renew my Revlimid prescription, they're not surprised, but I think after 8 years that Revlimid was actually approved in Canada and United States in 2008. So I was lucky, almost a little bit less than a year after that I was actually put on that medication. It's probably the best hope long-term medication that we have right now treating multiple myeloma if you're in the non-remission state, because it does control. I can't say that it doesn't do the job. I'm not gonna go without it to try and then revive this cancer. So it's like, if it's not broken, let's not fix it. But I can tell you that science is going rapidly right now. Many medications have been out. There's 3 different types of medication right now. If you're relapsing, let's say if you go with the Velcade, and if Velcade doesn't work, you can go with Revlimid. You can actually even combine these 2 together to make it more efficient. You go with there's 2 to 3 other medication that I won't go into, but they're the new Velcade and the new Revlimid. So they're more advanced and they're more efficient. But like all hospitals and probably insurance companies will probably say that you have to go through the first before you go through the second and the third and the fourth. So they do have, because they're very expensive medication. All I can tell you is, life does not have to end when you're given a diagnostic of cancer. To me, like I've probably said it on other videos, it's been an opportunity for me to change my life. It's been a positive change. 'Cause, just look at it any way you want and think at it as cancer is not a positive thing, but sometimes things happen in your life where it sort of it shakes you, it rattles you, and multiple myeloma did that, but kept it where as a reminder. Maybe I'm not in remission today, but I can tell you that every time that I take a pill, that I am reminded that I do have a mission on this planet, and it's to live. If you have kids, if you have young kids, if you have a wife or a husband, if you have in a situation in your life where you feel that you're being cheated of life, well, look at it this way: you're not being cheated right now. You're probably reminded that life must be lived. And we can all sit around, like I probably said, you can all sit around and wait for the train to come by, or you can probably get to the station and call for the train. That's what I've done. I've done for the last 8 years, do as much as I possibly can. We're not all in a financial situation where we can go tour the world and take all the cruises and the trips and everything we'd love to, and I haven't done that yet. But I have spiced my life with many little things, and my bucket list has become now more projects. It's like when my bucket list was what do I need to do before I die, has become now more like what can I do right now to have some fun. And then I can tell you that at 47 years old, when I was diagnosed with this, the first thing that I saw on a Cancer Society website said that if you're at that stage 3, you have 24 to 30 months to live. I didn't even think that at 47 years old that I wasn't going to see my 50th birthday. I wasn't even going to see my 25th wedding anniversary in 2012. And how was I going to be around for my daughter if she got married? Who was going to take her down the aisle? But let me tell you this. I'm 54 years old, turning 55 in a couple of months. I've had my 25th wedding anniversary, and next year will be my 30th. I took my daughter down the aisle last year in February, and she just blessed us with her first grandchild on July the 17th. So, who would know? Who knew what life has for us? But if you sit around, mope around, and then feel sorry for yourself, you're not going to live through this. You have to feel good about life. I think it's been probably my biggest asset. It's probably been my way of helping people. Yes, it is. It's not funny, but my dad had a way of saying to us, could always be worse. Could always be worse. Well, that's how I'm looking at it. It could probably be worse. And right now, I'm living the best that I could every day. I'm still working. I still have my stem cells in the freezer somewhere, so if something goes awry, I still have the option of that second lifeline. Maybe even 2. Maybe today we hear people having 2 auto transplants. So who knows? Who knows if next year or in a couple of years that medication may actually eradicate this disease. But we're that close. We're that close. It's not a question of months, maybe a question of years. And right now, medication is giving us that opportunity to live. It's giving us that opportunity to wait. So what else can we do? You know, my daughter is said before, to me, if you can't change a situation, we have to change your attitude. And that's what I've done. I can't change the fact that I have cancer, but I can change the way I feel about it. I live with cancer. I live with it. It's not a burden. It's a part of my life now. Just like someone who would have diabetes or whatever. So I've learned to live with it, and you should adapt to live with it. And that's normal at the beginning, that you feel this anger. Why me? Why am I age? And what have I done? And so on. You're going to ask all yourself those questions. And 8 years later, I go into it again. Sometimes I remind myself, why me? Why not? Maybe if you're philosophical, you could say, there's a reason why probably I have this. It's probably to help others, probably also, to make me appreciate the life that I have. And I do. I'm very fortunate. I'm fortunate to still be around. And you know what? And I wish for most of you to still be around a few more years. And who knows, in 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, I'll still be posting a video saying, how are we doing? And I know we can. Not easy, but we can. So to all, I wish you all the best, courage, especially health, and don't ever give up. Surround yourself with your family, with all your friends, and bite into life. Live the dream, I guess. Thank you and good night. And don't forget, you can still write to me if you wish. I will answer all of your letters. May take a little bit, but I will. So till next time, goodbye.